about 5 minutes to settle in.
Ooh, right. Okay. I'm just thinking I've got the projector in my face, so maybe I'll just shift this way a little bit. There we go, that's better. Is that okay?
Yes, I do have a booming voice. Too close. Yeah, that's great. Right. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, just put it up a bit. Up. Got it? That's better. Right, okay, I'm not going to knock anything over. This is obviously a very small photo of my Nana in southern India. As you can see, there was quite a lot of ethnic mix in there. I'm of Parsi descent, which is Persian descent, so we were Anglo-Parsis, which was completely different. Story's called The Lesson in Dhansak. Clip, clap, splosh and flop as my 1950s Clark's shoes hit the cobbled street, trickling wet grey with morning rain. We walk all three, and I swing, attached like an appendage to my father and uncle. I am that flesh link between older and younger brother. Little brown monkey, that's what they call me at school when innocent cruelty burgeons in the playground. But I don't mind. I am rich with who I am, and shine like gold with friendly smiles and playfulness, as I remember my father's advice. Water off a duck's back. Sticks and stones will break your bones, but names will never hurt you. These are your daily mantras, my father says to me. Then he reads Rudyard Kipling and says, if you had been a boy, I would have called you Kim. He tells stories of his childhood and youth, shows photos with crinkly edges of a black and white blue train steaming through the Nilgiri hills, and one of him standing in front of the Taj Mahal. He looks so young and eager, as if there are no sticks or stones in his life as yet. He says how my grandmother loves us all but will not leave her tea plantation and the orphans she has adopted, and she must bring them up. Another 2, and that makes 10. 10 children, a wondrously large number of brothers and sisters, all depicted in the black, white and greyness of colourless paper that arrives in those folded blue aerogrammed envelopes. They are eagerly awaited fragile containers of news and anecdotes, and they fall like gentle spirals, like a shower of silver eucalyptus tree leaves over our family days. My mind wanders into the mysterious labyrinths of a child's thoughts, and I hear the clip-clap of the cobbles talking to me from under my heels. Father and uncle hold my hands tight as we walk up the incline of this narrow Bristol street. How old am I? 7? 8? I can't remember. Age is not important at this moment in my life. I only think of my uncle's wedding in a few days' time, and I'm excited at being a bridesmaid. I'm proud of my brand new white Clark's shoes and take care not to scuff them on the uneven cobbles. We follow the immigrants' families' homes up and along the row of shabby terraced houses. Silence and subdued sadness pervade, each house displaying the same drabness, the same conformity of stacked red bricks. Prison red, a reminder of the home country, where rioters ended in painful squalor. Doors are closed against the damp. Windows sparkle in a clean effort to maintain dignity in this not-so-foreign country. An infinitesimally small number are draped in brightly coloured silks as a final defiance of identity. But I am oblivious to this hidden pain of loss as I swing, little brown monkey. We continue up the hill towards Auntie G's shop, where my uncle will collect spices, vegetables and provisions for the wedding meal. Auntie G is not really my auntie, but my uncle's aunt by future marriage. Complicated in my child's brain, but she is family, that I know. Part of that extended network of relations so essential to Anglo-Indian life in 1950s Britain. I was about to discover my cultural difference and the reason behind my school friends' jibes and chants. Father explains carefully about adding G when addressing my elders in sign of respect. He says no shouting, but a voice soft like wet mists on the tea bushes. Your voice is a snake, he explains. She lies coiled under a tea bush and is quiet or slips gently, rustling the undergrowth as she slides her way through the eucalyptus forests. But his voice becomes stern. But when the cobra rises to strike, her hiss and fangs will frighten and kill. The victim's dying is painful, so remember the power of your voice when you talk to people. I will be the rustling cobra at this Anglo-Indian wedding where I will meet, greet and be presented to many from the home country. They are my family now, a large, sprawling, generation-filled mangrove tree, those Indian roots spreading from their feet, crossing the oceans to where they had left and lost everything after independence. Generations' memories locked in crinkly-edged paper that comes with folded blue aerogram envelopes, tainted by ink-stained fingerprints. Precious word-blue jewels defiled by lack of care and respect. We enter Auntie G's shop. It is old and dark. The wooden floor is immaculately clean, apart from where some spices have taken a mind of their own and fallen to create ingrained bright stains. It is my first entrance into the closed, pungent world of my Parsi ancestors. Jute sacks filled with rice and unfamiliar fruit and vegetables lie against the walls. The counter is laden with brown paper bags of spices and trays of pastries and sweets. My father approaches and introduces me to a sari-clad woman standing behind the high wooden edifice. Auntie G, here is my daughter. I curtsy. She laughs. The shop customers laugh. I smile. Father is proud. Warmth surges inside me at this welcome and acceptance, as if I truly belong here amongst the vibrant odours surrounding me like a warm olfactory pashmina. The shop is a meeting hub for the community, where the best lassies in Bristol are served, or so the customers say. Gossip and memories of the home country are bandied about in spice-scented air. The lilting sounds entwine themselves around those present, a softly clinging mist of emotions. Sari-clad women and some younger girls in western dress stand around, commiserating tut-tuts accompanying genuine sorrow at news of tragic events. Joyful laughs and tears flow when births and marriages are announced. Did you hear about Mrs. Engineer's son? He died in the riots when they took his business away. Tut-tuts rise gently into the spice-filled air, mingling into a human masala, another ingredient in life's cooking pot. Old and older men are seated on chairs, smoking beedies and drinking lassies. They are attired in unfashionable suits that have stood on Indian platforms and seen countless trains go by with that clockwork precision, and some suits have slouched an eternity over the Raj accountancy books, leaving their owners stooped as old men are from carrying burdens all their lives. They are past employees of the great empire, greasing and oiling the many cogs of the colonial giant's economic machine. Others wear traditional clothes, defined in this newfound cultural ownership, a painful nostalgia hugging the brown skins that have shed Waziristani or Burmese as sweat and blood in the wars, ex-British Indian Army soldiers, like my father, but too old and discarded when the service disbanded. Betrayal's bitterness hangs around them as moustaches twirl between nicotine fingers, and the painful stabs of old wounds are constant reminders. You've brought her up well, Fred. Little girl, would you like jalebi or barfi? Asks Auntie G. It's her first time, Auntie G. She doesn't know anything yet. There's nothing Indian in Salisbury. May I take her around the shop and show her things? My father asks. Of course you can. We will start making up the packages for the wedding while you show your little ones some of home. My uncle remains at the counter as father takes my hand and leads me first to the line of jute sacks. He shows me fruit and vegetables I have never seen before. Mangoes send up their sweet, sickly aroma, and it will cling to my memory for many years to come. We then move to the large brown bags. Many different combinations of spices and masala exhale threads of odours that weave themselves into the air like a brightly woven silk sari. Mangoes and masala enchant me, transport my soul to new and exciting horizons. Life is like Dhansak, my father says. I turn my attention to him and listen carefully, knowing he will explain this new word. Dhansak is our Parsi dish. We came from Persia to India a long time ago and brought the dish with us. Dhansak must have the 4 tastes of life: salty, sour, bitter, and most important of all, sweetness. Now, lick your finger and dip it in here. I wasn't supposed to lick my fingers or stick out my tongue, but I did do as he asks and lower it into a bag of brownish granules that look like tiny yellow diamonds on my finger. Now taste and tell me what it is, my father says. Salt, I exclaim. I had always seen salt as a fine powder, so I'm surprised. Strong flavour fills my mouth. My father then takes what looks like a green lemon from one of the sacks. He cuts into it with his penknife, just enough to let the juice trickle. It is a lime, the first one I have seen. He lets a few drops fall into my upturned mouth, and I jerk back, grimacing. So, what taste is it, he asks. Sour, I manage to say as the juice rasps my mouth, then salt comes through the sourness, and it is palatable. I beam with surprise. I can taste the salt. Good. Now the bitter. He moves to a large paper bag on the counter. It holds brown, irregular shaped grains. Try this. It's method, fenugreek. I take a few grains, pop them into my mouth, and chew. Bitterness flows around my taste buds. I wince. Then the salt and sour lime infiltrate their way through the bitterness. It is pleasant. The flavours blend, each one taking the strength out of the other's characteristics. I smile again as I begin to understand what my father is trying to show me. "Fred, what on earth are you doing to that poor girl?" Auntie G calls over from behind the laden counter. "Lindy, come here, little girl. Your father is torturing you," she exclaims. My father grins with amusement. "Dhansak, Auntie G, she must know, so please now give her the sweetness." He is laughing as she hands me a piece of jalebi. Sticky rose water and honey syrup drizzle down my fingers as I bite into the unfamiliar orange pastry. Sweetness runs into my mouth and mingles with the salt, the sour, and the bitter. "So," my father queries, "each element has combined to create a balance of tastes on my palate. Sweetness has catalyzed them, changing the disparate into togetherness, transforming them into something entire, whole, complete." "Dhansak," I say. "I understand." The sari ladies look on affectionately, laughing discreetly, as is their way. The men, old and older, smile benignly and approvingly from chairs floating in a blue, beady haze. My father is full of pride and stands straight amongst them. Then he kneels and gently takes my hands in his. "Lindy," he says, "life is like Dhansak. Never forget that. There will always be the salt, the sour, the bitter, and then the sweetness. But remember that it's the sweetness that brings them together, and one cannot do without the other in life." My father died when I was 15. This young and eager man had seen the salt, the sour, the bitter at such an early age. But he accepted it all in the knowledge that sweetness would always come and life would taste of Dhansak again. Salt would lose saltiness, sour would soften, bitter would linger as an afterthought on the palate and in memories. So today, as I open the spice drawer to prepare Dhansak, those images return. The pungency and strength of each spice odour teasing out the threads from my silk sari of memories. As I bend over the pan, as I grind spices together in the mortar, as I add the masala to the